Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
We are a nation in decline.
Experts are preparing for what is known as Disease X, or the next pandemic.
What we are seeing is a revolution against the system.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Rise and Grind with VinceTagliavia, live with you every Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time to discuss the news and events of the world in the morning before we carry on with the rest of our days. Today's February 1st, 2024. We're there. Everybody's starting to go off right now. First day of Black History Month, everybody. I mean, this is, in my opinion, just a thing not designed to unite in this idea of bringing humanity together, but to divide. I already see the division happening, and I think that's the goal here, but it's a very sad thing to see. So, I mean, let's try to get along here. That's all right? But anyway, good morning, everybody. How's everyone doing this morning? Hope you've got your coffee or your tea or whatever you've got going for you this morning. And we're going to get into the news of the day. Good morning, Quiet Toad. How you doing over there? Good to see you. Alrighty then. Let's get right into it. We're going to start looking at the finance side of things. Right now, the stock market's green. And gold is up to $2,074.90. Bitcoin's down to $42,512. Yesterday, the Fed announced that they would be keeping the interest rates unchanged. Okay. Genevieve Rockdechter pointed out this little tidbit of not so great data. She pointed out that institutional investors dumped U.S. stocks at a record pace. Institutional clients, including mutual funds, pension funds, insurance companies, and banks, pulled more money from the U.S. equities last week than any other week in almost a decade, according to Bank of America. Much of the unloading was concentrated in tech stocks. She writes, probably nothing. No, I think that's a good indicator of something going on here. This is Bank of America data, but it's indicating that they're getting out. They're getting out of these investments, and what are they going to do with all that cash? They're dumping all these stocks. I wonder what are they holding cash? Are they buying precious metals? I don't know. Who knows? It's an interesting little bit of demand, though, isn't it? I think it is. Something to note. Let's go onward here. Oh, gosh. Klaus Schwab and the globalists. You will own nothing and you will be happy. These really bother me, these tiny homes. I'm just not into it. You will own nothing. Gen Z, millennials are becoming homeowners thanks to $30,000 tiny homes on Amazon. Get out of here. You can be a homeowner for just a small $35,000 fee. This is a Zolindo portable prefabricated tiny home. It's 19 feet by 20 feet. Mobile expandable plastic prefab house. They don't, oh my gosh. This is ridiculous. I mean, you can't really live in these in most places, can you? It's crazy. Is anybody actually living in these? It says here it's for hotels, booths, an office, a guardhouse, a shop, a villa, a warehouse, a workshop. 35,000 for that? 35,000 for a 19 by 20 foot thin-walled house. 35,000 for that. I'm pretty sure. Gosh, are there any builders out there? How much would it cost to build a 19 by 20 foot house? If you're going to build a house, why are you buying a 19 by 20 foot or building a 19 by 20 foot? I understand it's way cheaper than a normal sized house, but I wonder how much it would cost to build this something this big. And does it have walls in the middle, or is it just one big room? I don't know. I have so many questions. It probably doesn't insulate very well. It's just horrible, man. It doesn't have plumbing. It doesn't have electrical. Maybe they do have something, but I mean, that's going to be an additional cost on top of that. I really don't like it. People are like, oh, I love tiny houses. I can't. I just don't see it. I don't see what people see in these tiny houses. 19 by 20 feet, 200 square feet. My God. God help us. But people can't afford to buy houses. It's a big problem. And I'm not denying that. People cannot afford houses right now. It's a really sad thing to see. I mean, I keep seeing these videos of people posting videos of them talking about their lifestyles. And it's like people crying, I work 40 hours a week and I can't afford all my bills. I could barely afford my apartment and I work 40 hours a week. And then I don't have any time to myself and I'm just, wearing down and I don't have any energy. And that's only 40 hours a week. Some people work 60, 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week sometimes and have the same problem. And it's really sad to see people posting these videos. I mean, and I think it's becoming more and more common as things get worse and worse. It's really a horrible situation. But that's not stopping these crazy products like this. There's an Apple product coming out tomorrow. The Apple, what do they call this thing? Oh my gosh. The Vision Pro. Apple is launching their Vision Pro tomorrow for a reasonable $3,500. It's a virtual reality headset. Is that what we got here? The Vision Pro, $3,500. Yet people can't afford rent. What is going on here? My gosh. Or people are paying rent for higher values than they could be paying a house, be putting towards a house. That's what I don't understand either. It's like somebody pays, X amount in rent and they can't get approved for a loan to pay less than that to own a house. Where's the logic there, right? It seems like they're just trying to not allow people to own houses, really, to me. It's like, we'll let you pay more in rent. Yeah, it's just ridiculous, people. I don't know what to do about it. We need to get back on track, though, that's for sure. This one said, my deck is the size of their mini house. I think I have at least that much deck too. That's so funny. Oh my gosh. They're probably horrible places to live. I mean, they don't have toilets. I don't think they have plumbing. I'm sure you could run some wires to it, but that's going to be an extra $5 or $10 grand. Have fun. It's just silly. It's really silly. We'll see, man. I mean, it's a disaster. Vanderbilt, Carnegie, and Rockefeller are spinning in their graves. This was some interesting data that I saw yesterday posted by Zero Hedge. the largest 10 more crowded than the next 40 stocks. So this is the weight of the largest 10 stocks in the S&P 500 versus the weight of the largest 11 through 50th stocks in the S&P 500. So check this out. This is an interesting thing. And what it tells us is, here we have in orange the top 10 largest stocks in the S&P 500, worth almost twice as much or weighing as much as twice as much, almost as twice as much as the 11th through 50th stocks in the S&P 500. This is why when you see one stock or two stocks performing incredibly well, like today, that the entire market turns green. It's because the weight of those large companies is very influential on the entire market. And it's historically kind of unprecedented to see this huge gap. Although prior to the 90s, it seemed like that gap was very massive. It's always been, the top 10 have always been much bigger than the rest, but it's definitely a trend, with a trend away from where even we've been historically, with the big companies becoming bigger and the small companies staying the same or getting smaller. Or they're still small, they're still big companies, but smaller big companies, if you will. So this just reminds me of Monopoly. It reminds me of Monopoly. The big guns, the big giants are getting bigger and everyone else is getting the same or smaller. Not good. And I'm wondering, what have you guys noticed all of these Boeing headlines, all of these airline headlines? What's the big idea here? Why do you think we are seeing this onslaught of headlines about airlines and airplanes being dangerous, and loose bolts and cracked windshields and delayed flights and diverted flights and planes landed day after day after day? I think there's something to it. I don't know. I don't think that it's just coincidence or anything like that. I think that maybe it's a plan for something bigger. I don't know, or just kind of to change the perception on airplanes or get people to fly less. Who knows? But it's just odd to me that we keep seeing these stories. Yesterday morning, the New York Post published a video, and it's of an ex-Boeing manager warning flyers to avoid 737 MAX 9 jets. He said, "I would absolutely not fly a MAX airplane." Really? And he talks about all the issues. Unbelievable. It's just wild. I don't know. Don't you guys find that odd? Anybody else looking at this like, And am I live on Rumble? Okay, good, I am. Good. Hi, Rumble folks. I find it very odd. Onward here. We have a website called The Messenger shutting down, a news website called The Messenger shutting down, according to the New York Times. Just another news company that can't stay afloat in these times. And then a question about China and the supply chain. Gateway Pundit published this morning. Gateway Pundit said, "Will China use supply chains as a weapon in a conflict with the U.S.?" The U.S. officials fear the supply chain in China's secret weapon. Over the last few years, the phrase supply chain has become one of increasing importance to everyone, from corporate leaders to government officials and to customers. Now it's a phrase that is becoming important to even military leaders. According to Barron's, the United States worries that China will use its power in global supply chains as an additional weapon to advance its political and military might. A report released Wednesday showed the annual threat assessment issued by the Director of National Intelligence said China is already using the supply chain dominance to force foreign companies and countries to transfer technologies and intellectual property to it. The pandemic showed just how vulnerable our supply chains are. Indeed, they did. Chinese domination of the pharmaceutical supply chain. They provide us with most of our ingredients for all of our drugs, many of which people are addicted to. For they absolutely need these things to survive at this point, especially like blood pressure medications and things. A lot of medications people just can't quit cold turkey are supplied by China. Not a good situation. And yeah, during the pandemic, we saw shelves go bare, right? Hey, Ike, good to see you. Yeah, we saw shelves go bare, and I think we're going to see it again, man, especially with these disruptions. It's all going to start adding up. It's all going to keep growing. Wars, shipping issues. And if China just says, yeah, we're not doing it anymore, especially being a part of the BRICS nations, I don't think they're going to completely cut off the U.S. because everybody's tied together. But I think that, yeah, it could get shaky. It could get shaky. How do you protect against prescription drug shortages? Be prepared. There's some doctors out there that can help you. And then they sell the emergency medical kit here on this Gateway Pundit article. But it's actually good stuff to have, not a sponsor, but they sell various medicines and whatnot. Ivermectin, metronidazole, whatever. I don't know how to pronounce these things, but they're selling medicines to people. This isn't a solution to everybody's problems, but when you have some medical equipment on hand, whether that be emergency medications, etc., it definitely helps in an emergency situation. But I mean, I think people should be thinking about their personal medications too. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to have excess medication. They don't let you. So I've heard of people getting creative in various ways with like timing and trying to just get a little bit extra here and there. But it's not an easy situation, and I don't think that's allowed. So don't listen to me. I'm just saying what I heard people do, try to get ahead of the game. But man, it's a bit worrisome. Good morning, Lisa. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well. Happy February. Anyway, wouldn't hurt to have an emergency kit on hand. And that should include antibiotics and bandages and information as well. Information on how to treat wounds, information on how to tie a tourniquet, just basic good information is not bad to have. Information that's not stuck in a device like a computer. Anyway, onward. Let's talk about what's going on here. In D.C., we have leftist activists shutting down major road intersections. They're protesting. They're demanding Israel end its war against Hamas. Yeah, we've got pro-Palestinian protesters in D.C. today. Maybe tomorrow it'll probably be Seattle again, or L.A., or New York. But today it's D.C. They're just screaming. They're chanting and screaming and making demands. Yeah, this is just people are honking. Yeah, so whatever. I mean, Antifa and far left protesters shut down roads today in Washington, D.C. in a direct action against Israel. Very interesting. Antifa and far left protesters. I mean, what is it going to be next? They just pick up, the next thing. What's the next thing for Antifa? Oops. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm just laughing. Some of these people. I feel like I recognize that guy, by the way. It's like the same small group of Antifas. Wow. Okay. So we've got that today in DC, folks. Onward. People are asking the question if martial law is about to be declared in France because of all of the farmers standing up in protest. Jim Ferguson put out a little clip about that, or a little thread, if you will, or a tweet or an X post. I don't know what we call them. What do we call them? But he says, breaking alert, is martial law about to be declared in France? Macron is getting desperate and may induce some form of emergency legislation, such as Trudeau in Canada, as indeed, in effect, introduce martial law, which he wrote this very odd. Unprecedented scenes in France and across the European continent. The people are waking up and fighting back against globalists and their policies. The French farmers have massive support from the people of France, and Macron is in serious danger if he tries to strong-arm them or use his security forces to attack them. So yeah, it's a shaky situation. I mean, he could try some form of emergency legislation like Trudeau did. I guess Trudeau ended up being successful, but now it turns out that wasn't legal, which everybody knew. Everybody knew that. The word is that French police have arrested around 100 farmers. Reports are that a convoy of tractors are heading towards the police station to demand their release. This was yesterday morning. And let's see if we have an update from this Peter, Sweden. Food shortages are now being reported in France after the farmers blockade cities in protest of the green agenda. No farmers means no food. And this is what I'm talking about. So we already see it in France because of their small localized blockade. This is going to expand to other parts of the world. Let's not listen to that music. But yeah, just very few boxes have made it to the shelves. Oh my gosh. And this is going to wake people up. They're going to be like, hey, I went to the store to get dinner and I couldn't find anything. I don't know what to do. And then, yeah, not good. Really not good. So I think we're going to be seeing some developments. We're going to be seeing something, right? We will, because you can't just have your city starve. That would be horrendous. Massive crowds of farmers have gathered outside the EU in Brussels to protest against the climate agenda that is destroying their livelihood. There's a lot of bad information when it comes to this, and a lot of information. It's few and far between where you can find good information about this. But this seems to be legit. Thousands of farmers have surrounded the EU building in Brussels. And here's what that is. I mean, these are massive. These are important. So here they are. Like I said, it's hard to find accurate information on what's going on here. I was under the impression it was like the prime minister kind of quelled the problem, but maybe not. The Associated Press came out and said that France's two key farmers' unions suspend protests after the government offers new measures. So this is saying that they're actually suspending their protests. Meanwhile, I mean, those videos are very recent, like 2 hours, 1 hour. So why are they saying they're suspending it? Is this just BS to trick people, or what's going on? Because people are still protesting. I don't know, but the Associated Press says that France's two major farmers' unions announced they would lift countrywide blockades Thursday, shortly after the prime minister introduced new measures aimed at protecting their livelihoods that they described as tangible progress. And listen to this tangible progress. Okay, they're protesting climate change and yada yada yada, but listen to this. However, Farmer activists who have snarled traffic along major highways around Paris said they would stay put at least another day to see government commitments in writing, and both unions say they would closely monitor any government implementation. So they are continuing to protest. They said we want it in writing, and I don't think those are all the everything they want. I don't think everything they want is being met. Listen to what they are getting. This is what Thierry Desforges, a former union member, says. We don't want to hear words of love. What we want is proof of love. Thousands of French farmers have been demonstrating for a couple of weeks across the country, and onward. Prime Minister Gabriel Attal, whose earlier promises to address farmers' issues had failed to quell the French protests, announced a new set of measures Thursday. They included tens of millions of euros in aid, tax breaks, and a promise not to ban pesticides in France that are allowed elsewhere in Europe, which French farmers say leads to unfair competition. Attal also said France would immediately ban imports from outside the EU that used pesticide banned in the bloc. The pesticide issue is a really interesting one, that the farmers actually want to use more pesticides, which is interesting to me. I wonder what pesticides they're talking about or what's going on there, but it seems bad. But anyway, that's kind of where it is, I suppose, where we're at on the France situation. Hey, thank you, Black Jester. Appreciate it. My gosh. We'll wait and see what happens here. We should have more in the next 24 hours or so. We'll see. Maybe they'll get something in writing. There was a chemical attack on a residential street in London. 12 people were injured. A woman and her daughter have life-changing injuries. London police are searching for a man named Abdul Shakur Azidi. Horrible terrorist attack happened in London here. Absolutely horrible. I think it was an acid attack or what have you. We see this in London for some reason. A lot of acid attacks. Onward here. We had this article that I came across, Junk Science on X. It's not even an article. It's just an X post by Steve Malloy. He writes, the shattering of the climate hoax's hockey stick. Wharton statistician Dr. Abraham Weiner testified under oath today in Michael E. Mann versus Free Speech that Mann's hockey sticks graphs were produced by manipulating data in a misleading manner. And we're talking about climate change data here. And I've talked about this before. The data is manipulated in a misleading manner. If you use critical thinking and really look at it, you could realize this. Below are the hockey stick graphs from MBH 1998, Nature, MBH 1999, Geophysical Research Letters, and the IPCC Third Assessment Report. They all helped build the climate hoax into what it is today. Now it is all on trial and under oath. Dr. Winder's blockbuster testimony for the defense continues tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern Time. You can watch live on the court website, dccourts.webex.com. Anyway, I'm not going to download it, but at Junk Science on x.com is following this story, and I'll retweet it so you can find it. It's a scam. I've lived through all of this. Yeah, from 1968 all the way until... From 1966 all the way to 2019, just all these climate scams. Oil is going to be gone in 10 years. That was in 1966. And what are we still hearing? Acid rain. Yeah. All this crazy stuff. Killer bees. Ice age. A new ice age. Peak oil. Yeah. The world is sinking, right? It's one of their favorite ones. The water levels, which there could very well easily be floods in the world. Floods are real, but anyway. I was disappointed to see this post by Wall Street Silver. They said that Texas needs to keep sending more buses to New York City. The only way to force change is to make New York City feel the consequences of their voting and their policies as a sanctuary city. Send 100,000 more fake refugees. This is in response to New York residents saying that these illegal immigrants are forming gangs based on where they're from. So different countries have different gangs. Where then they're going and committing crimes and shooting each other and breaking into people's houses and running drugs and sex trafficking and blah, blah, blah. But here's Wall Street Silver and a lot of other people out there that are like, send all the immigrants from Texas to New York, send them all to the sanctuary cities. I think this is just making the problem worse, even, not better. And I understand their kind of logic here where it's like, let them deal with it, let the liberals deal with it in their sanctuary cities, but that's what they want. That's what liberals want. They want more immigrants. They want to dilute the population into non-Americans. They want people that'll vote however they are paid to vote, legally or not. They want destabilization. So why aren't we just really doing the right thing and closing off the border and preventing this from happening instead of spending tax dollars to put immigrants on buses and ship them around the country and then pat yourself on the back while you think, well, like you're doing such a great thing? I don't understand. I think that this is a huge problem, and just it makes me very suspicious. I'm like, are people that dumb, or just like, I don't get it. I really don't get it. Is this, I don't know what to think. Are they dumb or are they evil? Hello, Army Rangers. Good morning. Good to see you. Onward. Let's see what else we got here. New York resident says illegal immigrants are, they're forming gangs. I was just mentioning that. Illegal immigrants have been discovered in a hidden room in the Atlanta Hartsfield Jackson International Airport. Did you guys see this? They were guarded by military personnel, huh? They were guarded by the U.S. military. Colin Rugg posted this video going through the airport. Very interesting. We're going to skip through it a little bit, but skip forward here. So he's going through an airport.
All over the place.
Where are they coming from?
As in, like, country of origin, stuff like that. Also all over the place.
All over the place.
Yeah.
You know when they come into the U.S.?
Why? Can I ask you why you're asking these questions?
Yeah. We send her from Northwest Georgia.
Yeah.
And not a big fan of human trafficking. And just want to make sure
everything's
above board here.
Yeah, so these are just recently documented travelers getting released from ICE, getting to where they need to be.
Okay.
Yeah, you're fine.
So your port's a company of volunteers.
Yeah.
Team Liberty.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that a non-government organization? What is that?
Yeah.
So you receive. How'd you get the job?
I'm a volunteer. I mean, there's people that they get dropped off here from ICE detention with no help, so we just,
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good, man. Care if we?
Good?
Yeah. Care if I come in? Just take a little closer look.
I mean, you can stand right there. I don't know you I don't know you very well either. So
Yeah, just let me get a video if you don't.
actually, you cannot get a video.
No.
You cannot get a video.
No, you're not allowed.
You're not allowed. You're done.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, the airports are just filled with illegal immigrants, and then volunteers are just helping them get processed. And they were talking about, well, I'm just concerned about human trafficking. I'd like a little more information. And that camera really made them start shaking, huh? Why? What's the big deal? It seems like you're doing a great humanitarian effort. Wouldn't you want that to be filmed and for you to be recognized for your volunteer work? Or maybe it is human trafficking. Maybe it is drug trafficking. Maybe it is, maybe there's some criminals in there. Who knows? Who knows what's going on, man? Ooh, the border scam. It's going on as we speak. Big time. This is interesting. A theory here that Ron DeSantis is still in the race in some way. Look what's in today's issue of the Sarasota Herald Tribune. Laura Loomer on x.com posted, even the local papers are reporting on how Ron DeSantis is still running a shadow presidential campaign. The headline she's talking about reads, DeSantis to step in if Trump implodes? Shadow campaign speculation circulates. Why? And Laura Loomer writes, why are his campaign staff still being paid? How come his campaign social media pages are still active? How come he's moving aides over to Club for Growth after he infused their anti-Trump PAC with nearly $3 million? Something weird is going on. Ron is working to undermine Trump, and it needs to be called out. Maybe so. Maybe that's one of the plans. Who knows? But I don't trust him. I don't. Onward here. We had Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin this morning give his first address since leaving office. And I guess he says he apologizes and he says that he has cancer. He has cancer. Let's see if we have a clip of that. He said he's sorry he didn't notify his colleagues of his hospitalization and cancer diagnosis. He said he was being treated for prostate cancer and said he now understands that if he has to sacrifice some of his privacy, given that he's a high-ranking official in the Biden administration, he understands that. Nice to see some personal accountability, but still not acceptable. Yeah, I agree. People are saying he needs to be fired. He's terrible, but he came out and at least spoke on the issue today. Did you guys see James O'Keefe yesterday? And today, by the way, James O'Keefe is coming out with the secondary part to this story. James O'Keefe pretended to be a gay man and got some video with a top White House cyber official who they went on a date, right? So James O'Keefe posed as a gay man, went on a date with a top White House cyber security official, and just this official spilled the beans saying Biden's incompetent. The White House wants to replace Kamala Harris and Biden is on a mental decline, but nobody's allowed to talk about it. And it ends pretty interestingly. And tonight we're going to be able to see the reaction and aftermath of this. Absolutely hilarious that James O'Keefe did that. I was just cracking up watching this. If you haven't seen it, go to James O'Keefe's X. I'll repost it if you want to find it that way. But in the end of this is what he asks him. It's so funny. Let me give you some sound here. So hilarious.
My question is, what are you doing on a meeting with James O'Keefe? And how do you think it looks to the American people that working in the Office of Cybersecurity, you're sitting across the table with James O'Keefe,
Okay.
founder of Project Veritas?
Oh, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, we do undercover investigations into people. What does it look like to the American people that the cybersecurity specialist at the White House is sitting across from the founder of Project Veritas? What type of cybersecurity operation are you guys running over there?
We're running a good cybersecurity operation.
Well, obviously not, because you're meeting with me. Did you not do your research? Or what is this clown show you guys running over at the White House?
Tune in tomorrow for the full reaction of Charlie Krager when I reveal who I am. What we have learned in OMG's undercover investigations into D.C. so far is that we have more problems in this country than the White House is willing to admit.
So that'll be today. He'll publish some more of that. It's really funny. His disguise was literally a pair of glasses. That is just so funny to me. James O'Keefe said, the manner matters more than your disguise. Absolutely hilarious and great work. He got some great information from this. Very great work by James O'Keefe there. Anyway, I can't wait for the next part of that to be released. Note, today is not my birthday. Half the world is night. My birthday is in March. All right. Onward. Let's see what else we got going on in the world today. The tax bill that passed last night will stifle work, expand welfare, and even allow illegal aliens to cash in on the child tax credit. I think this is moving on along. Let's see. This isn't done as done deal. I guess Republicans even voted for it. Let's watch. It passed, huh? Okay, let's watch this video.
Really have a problem with the bill that we passed last night in expanding welfare, especially allowing illegal immigrants to be able to get that child tax credit. That is not what we should be doing in America. And I know many businesses are going to benefit from the tax cuts that are in there, but they're not going to benefit in terms of the help wanted signs. We're discouraging work, which is the worst thing that we can do to the American people. Work is central to our self-worth. And we did not do the right thing last night in diminishing work.
Tiana, real quick.
Yeah, I just want to ask about this expanded child tax credit. Congressman, according to the Wall Street Journal, the provision for expanding it relies on the prior year's income, which means that even if someone is not working in the current fiscal year, they are still eligible to receive that expanded child tax credit. Why is that? Is that just a handout to the Democrats to allow people to get welfare even if they're not working? Why would it be based on the prior year's income rather than their current employment status?
You know, it really appears that the Wall Street Journal article.
Leave it there. We'll leave it there. But wow, that's how they do it. We'll give you a little tax break. Or this is good for your business. But then, you know, it's giving money away too. It's a big scam. Not good. Not good. We had Speaker Johnson come out and release some interesting information. A document that covered 64 instances of the Biden administration undermining border security and encouraging illegal immigration. Speaker Mike Johnson just published it and goes through the list of all the things, the date, the action, and the sources and information. It's a very interesting thing. And yeah, it's just a document. It says Biden administration actions that have undermined border security and encouraged illegal immigration. It goes through and through and through. 64 instances. It's not debatable at that point. I mean, of course, they'll lie. But Biden gun rule being drafted to effectively ban private sales. ATF whistleblowers. Oh, my. They're going after the guns. They always are, aren't they? A watchdog group is demanding documents from the Biden administration after whistleblowers alleged that a regulation is under development that would effectively ban private gun sales. The group, Empower Oversight, said Wednesday that two sources have claimed that the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives is preparing to propose a rule requiring background checks for most or all gun sales. Oh, Lord. Anything to prevent people from getting weapons or trading weapons or giving weapons away. We'll keep our eye out. It's unconstitutional. Man, General Michael Flynn is on X, and he wrote an assessment about the U.S. and Iraq and more. And I kind of want to take a look at this because we've had some developments with the wars. U.S. destroys 10 Houthi attack drones, a control station in Yemen, according to the military. This was, I believe, last night. U.S. plans have been approved for military drone strikes in Iraq, Syria, against multiple targets, including Iranian personnel. And we've got Mike Flynn. And let's see what Mike Flynn is saying as all of this begins to unfold. World War. Mike Flynn wrote, the United States of America invaded Iraq back in 2003 based on now U.S. government debunked claims of weapons of mass destruction. The very famous speech that General Colin Powell gave in the United Nations with the full weight of the CIA behind him, where he said Iraq possessed weapons of mass destruction, was all a lie. We then proceeded to lose so many young lives killed and wounded. We also lost trillions of dollars from our treasury, meaning from American taxpayers. We lost a ton of prestige as well on the world stage, all for a loser, endless war that now looks to be turning the tide toward war once again. But this time the tide is against the United States. Also, Iran is most certainly developing a nuclear weapons program. We know this because our government under Obama and Biden have told us. These administrations are funding them to the tune of billions of dollars. This is no secret. It's all public knowledge, and those on the left appear to consider it their duty to support Iran. I really don't know where this attitude comes from. Do these people hate America and Israel so much they want to see war or the destruction of entire societies? That's what nuclear weapons can do. I can speculate and analyze all day long about this and point fingers at Obama and Kerry and the Clintons, pressure from the globalists at the World Economic Forum, or maybe it's the CCP directing our U.S. foreign policy. I'm not kidding. At times it feels that way. All the money we're pouring into Iran flows into Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis, Iran surrogates inside the Iraq government, and many other Iranian-aligned groups and individuals in the greater Middle East. Tactically, but with strategic consequence, are the number of attacks on U.S. forces. That number is now north of 150, resulting in several casualties. During the previous Iraq war, there were more than 600 U.S. casualties directly caused by Iran. Iran has unleashed proxy wars in Israel, Syria, Yemen, Gaza, Lebanon, Red Sea, and are likely behind protests here in America, as well as influencing, through their relationships with Venezuela, the invasion of our southern border. The big so what is that Iran is our enemy, not our friend. And that is the Biden administration's response. Continue to send billions in aid and trade to Iran, our enemy. In my judgment, you cannot make peace with fanatics. For example, there were over 300,000 soldiers and civilians killed during the final battle for Berlin against the Nazis in 1945. The Nazis knew they had zero chance for victory, but that's how fanatics operate. We have to stop dealing with fanatics. Lastly, if we don't focus right here at home, America first, we could lose everything. So much is at stake, and we're not even allowed to close the front door to our home. I believe in God. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that we have lost sight of the importance of God in America. To reclaim our republic as a Judeo-Christian nation built on a set of moral principles and values, we need to be fearless, and we better get our act together very quickly. God bless America. Fire, Eagle, praying hands, USA. General Flynn. This morning, just about an hour and a half ago. 2 hours ago. Wow. There's a lot to digest there, but thank you, Flynn, for putting your thoughts out to the world. My goodness. Great post there, huh? Half the world is I. I'm late. I had no idea what's going on. Oh, I see the birthday stuff. Hello, everybody. E3. Hey, good morning. Good morning. We're just about to come to an end. Hey, Rumi. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see what else real quick. Just a quick lightning round of what's going on in the world. This was an interesting post, and it reminds me of a conversation I was having last night. Because we were debating. I was in a space with Lolo, my friend Lolo. I was in an X space with her, and we were discussing with just some random people on Twitter, states and cities, and kind of debating, and it turned into this thing with somebody. I'm not calling them out. They're a fine person, but they're just talking about like cities. They're like, what state are you from? Oh, Washington. Well, Seattle. Wow, blah blah blah. Or where are you from? Oh, California. Well, LA. Da 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 da. And I'm like, well, look, you could look at any state and pick the liberal city, and yeah, it's a shithole. But you go out to the country, you go out to the small cities and towns, and the large counties with farmland and normal people. And you've got good, hardworking people. I mean, you're not having high crime rates. You're not having this. You're not having that. It's pretty chill. You get the occasional drug addicts and people running through from these big cities. But for the most part, most of our country is fine. However, I'm not trying to minimize this border crisis or anything. But look at this map by county. By county, there's just so much red there. So much. By county. Oh, whoops, sorry. And I think it's important to consider the red wave. That's most of the country. Everyone is talking about things state by state. Stupid way to look at it, if you ask me. This is Space Weather News. A very interesting account, by the way. He talks about space weather. It's very cool. Very cool. He monitors the sun, which is very awesome. I just started following him the other day. It's pretty cool. Anyway, onward. Iran has officially joined the BRICS nation. That includes China, Russia, India, South Africa, etc. So there you have that. It's official. FBI Director Wray warns of a Chinese cyber Pearl Harbor. Also, China hackers are positioning on America infrastructure in preparation to wreak havoc and cause real-world harm to American something or another, posted by the Insider paper. Holy smokes. So now they're just warning of cyber attacks. This is the same story, by the way. Quote, China's hackers are positioning on American infrastructure in preparation to wreak havoc and cause real-world harm to American citizens and communities. If or when China decides the time has come to strike, FBI Director Wray told Congress yesterday. Of course. So anybody now can attack the infrastructure. What if there was an evil controller out there? Like, I don't know, somebody like, who knows, right? Like Bill Gates or George Soros, let's just say hypothetically. And what if they decided to do a cyber attack, but then they just frame China? I mean, isn't that a concern? Isn't that a problem? Hello? Not saying it couldn't or wouldn't be China, but we need to consider everything, right? Cyber attack. That would not be good, folks. Everything would come to a halt. I mean, gosh, our medical system relies on our grid, our companies, our food supply, everything could come to a halt. And that would be full-blown World War III SHTF right there. A cyber attack that targets the entire infrastructure. Worst case scenario, might not happen, might be fine, but it's concerning that they're talking about this so openly and kind of predicting it. Maybe it's a warning. Let's talk about health and then we'll go on with it. Who wants a brain chip? I keep asking, because it is hot in the news. Tyler Fisher posted this video. He's a comedian. He got his Neuralink chip made by Elon Musk, and he says that it worked. Let's watch what he has to say here.
Thank you to Elon Musk. I'm about to get my Neuralink chip implanted into my brain. Lost use of the entire left side of my body and have trouble speaking. Wish me luck.
Okay, everyone. I've been up from my surgery for about 15 minutes now. Let that sink in. I'm a little drowsy, but I can move my hand for the first time in my life. So, Disney, if you're watching, that's for you. It's pretty cool. I've been up for a little while, 15 minutes. I already updated Starlink, so it should be working about 5 times as fast. So that's pretty good. I also just drew up a new design for a SpaceX rocket that can fly to Mars in about 5 days. So that's pretty good progress, actually. And when I woke up, I realized the world is actually not overpopulated; it's underpopulated. So I've already impregnated 6 of my nurses. So. Okay, 7. That's pretty hot. That's pretty cool. Anyways, highly recommend the chip. Highly recommend it. I think it's working really well. And Disney, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. Okay, I don't know where that came from, but that was actually pretty cool. It was really cool.
So he's going on tour. Escape from New York tour. Wow. He's in Atlanta this month, Toronto and Vegas, and San Francisco, Phoenix, Sacramento, Long Island, Tulsa. Oh my gosh, that's all in March. Oh, Tulsa's in April. But yeah, if you're interested, it's tylerfisher.com, and not, just being polite. He's so funny. So if you like comedy, he's on tour. So funny. We've got since we're on the health topic, more than 130 people on board a cruise from Florida mysteriously fall ill with vomiting and diarrhea. Sounds like a virus. What a mystery. Oh, by the way, somebody pointed out in the comments on there that cruise ships were some of the very first places to have 5G released. 5G. And they're the places where they get these crazy viruses all the time. How convenient. Holy smokes. Yeah, you won't see me on a cruise. The only cruising I'll be doing is if I'm fishing, and it'll be a small fishing vessel or a kayak or from the shore or a small fishing boat. But yeah, cruise, no thank you. 130. Sounds like the next thing, man. Of course. Let's see. The West Coast is about to get hit with a pretty big storm, I think. Let me double check that, but they're calling it an atmospheric river once again. Am I right or am I right? Because I heard about this. Let me make sure. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I heard about this, then I looked up my weather and it seemed pretty clear. But yeah, this is January 31st, 2024. Atmospheric river seen from space as 3 states brace for extreme rain. You're talking about Oregon, Washington, and California. It looks like Northern California and Oregon are going to get the brunt of this. National Weather Service, an atmospheric. So I guess it started impacting last night. So anyway, just be careful, folks. Be careful. And I think that there's going to be more of this coming. But they're saying it's just a few inches of water very quickly. But for some areas, that could induce flooding and whatnot. We are drowning lots of rain, Princess Lee 8 says. Interesting. Let me know what's up, y'all. Let me know what's happening in your area. Thank you. Cruise ships are dirty, BG2 Hugh says. E333, no, that was not real. That was a parody. It was parody. All right, y'all. I'm going to get with it. I got a few things to do today, as usual, and I know you do too. So I'll let you get on with it. You could catch me over on x.com. Just search my name, VinceTagliavia, and you'll find me. I'll be on x.com. That's where you can find me. And on my website in the description, if you want to find all of my channels. Also on Twitch, I'll stream chess here this weekend. If you want to follow me on Twitch, I'll just be playing chess this weekend. If you want to join me, it's just beginners, casual chess. It's fun. I really enjoy it. So you're welcome to join me and follow me on Twitch and everywhere else. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Take care. God bless and Godspeed.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.
...2024 may be the year of a black swan event.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.